Hey guys, and welcome back to Jalen Says. And today we are with this actor, the producer, the CEO. She's multi-hyphenate. I just learned that word like yesterday from her, which means she does a lot of cool stuff, right? And I mean, she's incredible. When I looked her up, she had all this information, all this cool stuff that he did, and I was just wowed. So I mean, to introduce herself even further, here's Miss Tina Fears. How are you doing today?
Hey, Jalen, how are you? I'm great, honey.
I'm fantastic. So to get this started off, you're a CEO, you're an actor, you're a producer, you do all these things. So can you just give a little rundown on who is Tina Fears?
Yeah, Tina Fears is an actor, singer, dancer, producer. I'm also a business owner. And my favorite role out of all of them is definitely to be a mom to my 12-year-old son, Micah. So he's like around your age group. He's in middle school.
So to get this started off, what brought you into this world of the industry?
I come from a creative family. I could sing and dance as a young person. Yourself, I kind of around your age, I realized that I was like, oh, I'm pretty talented. I sound good when I sing. And so I was encouraged by my parents. My sister and I sang all the time. And I realized that I enjoyed doing it. It's one thing to have a gift and be creative, and you can do something that's cool, but it's a difference when you're really passionate about it. And I was really passionate about these things. I loved being out in front of people. I wasn't really shy, and I think just throughout life I was able to cultivate that gift with performances and performing in high school and eventually starting to do it professionally. So I started out around your age, just enjoying something and then realizing I was pretty good at it and decided, like, let me just keep going with it.
So before you realize you're gonna be who you are today,
Mm-hmm.
be this creative mogul, what did you think you're gonna be?
Oh, I definitely went to school like I'm gonna be. Well, when I was younger, I wanted to be a lawyer. That was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm gonna be a lawyer. I'm a lawyer. And then when I got to college, I kind of decided that I wanted to go into education. It was safer. I knew I could like go to work, get my checks, pay my bills, have the summer off. But that was like the safer route. That wasn't what God called me to do or be, but it was me trying to kind of manipulate that. So lawyer first, and then I was like, oh, I'll just go be a teacher. I like kids. I'll be a teacher. Respect to teachers. That's not my calling, but I thought I was going to teach school.
So when did that switch well, you said the switch happened, but what made you really think you wanted to really make this career? Like, because you were still thinking of teaching as when you're
Yeah.
studying abroad.
Yeah, that's a great question. In college, I was going into my sophomore year at Clark Atlanta University, the Clark Atlanta University, go Panthers, and ran out of money, Jalen. I ran out of money. College is expensive, especially HBCUs. They're wonderful. They're a very important part of our Black culture, but it costs money to go to HBCUs. You know, looking back at it, I probably should have gone to state school or taken the route of going to a performing arts school like Howard, which is also an HBCU, but I ran out of money at Clark Atlanta. And that was all my plan. Go to Clark, I'm going to cheer, I'm going to pledge, and be a teacher. And it all came crumbling down. And so I kind of said I had to do some inward reflecting and figure out, Lord, okay, this school thing is not working out for me at this school. I transferred to the Art Institute, which was closer into what I was passionate about and being a creative. But I had to figure out, what do I have naturally? What are things that I'm good at, that I'm passionate about, that I love, that I can make a career out of? And so go ahead.
How long did that process last?
That was an immediate. Like, I had to make a quick shift. I had to make a decision. Like, I was moving out of my dorm. I was moving back home. And I just had to figure something out. I wasn't going to take a gap year. I didn't have the luxury of like, let me just go home and figure it out. Like, it was like, okay, quickly, what are you going to do? And so that was kind of when all of that happened. So I started Stage Ready, which is a business that provides entertainment services. I still wasn't going out front and performing, but it put me a little bit closer to the Tina who was a 12-year-old singing and dancing and acting and all of that.
Okay. So what is your, I guess, motive behind Stage Ready?
Yeah, Stage Ready is a company. The heartbeat behind Stage Ready is really just to meet entertainers, artists, creatives, businesses right where they are. I'm sure you'll learn about entrepreneurship. If you're someone that's in business, that means you're solving a problem, right? If I'm a hairstylist, that means that I'm providing a service because people need their hair done. They want to look good. In your case, you're serving as someone in the media space. People need to be informed. So for me, there were dancers that needed jobs. There were artists who were putting tours together. There were people who needed their award shows choreographed, and so my business met those needs. That was the goal behind Stage Ready, was to fulfill a void, and obviously there was a need for that because we've now 15 years later we've still been in business.
Okay. So after you started Stage Ready, what made you want to switch into being on screen and being front and center?
Yeah, that's a great question. The little girl on the inside who was like, man, I can do this. Like they're taking my note, they're taking my notes, they're doing what I'm asking them to do, but it could be that much better if I was doing it, kind of overcoming my fear. Because remember, we had this dream as a little kid, and then we went the safe route, and that didn't work. We got a little closer to the dream, but there was still something inside. It was really my heart saying, why would you not step out front and use what God gave you? You have to at least try. If you get out there and you fail, then you won't be able to ever say, I never tried it. And so after many years of, being successful behind the scenes, I felt like God was just telling me, you got to go out front. I didn't give you these gifts to hide in the background. You could stay here, but I don't know if you'll be most fulfilled if you weren't putting those gifts front and center.
So how was your experience when you first stepped out there?
Gratifying and terrifying at the same time. It felt good to be betting on myself. It felt good to be in the limelight, but it was terrifying because I was a little more seasoned when I started doing it. I already was a mom, right? My son was probably about 4 when I decided that I'm going to start performing and start auditioning. It was a lot of work. But because I was someone who had been behind the scenes, I already had the mental toughness to kind of persevere through all of that because I knew the end result was going to be worth it.
So how long has your journey been through the big screen, I guess, through the front center?
Yeah. I guess if Stage Ready is coming up on about 15, I want to say about a good 7 years. It's been about a good 7 years from, which is actually pretty fast considering sometimes people go 10, 15, 20 years before they book something when you include training and all of that. So I'm very blessed, very fortunate that it's been a quick process for me. So about 7 years of coming out from behind the scenes and owning the space as a performer. It's been about 7.
Okay. So what has been your kind of road journey through? How has your ups and downs been, I guess?
Yeah, it's been tumultuous. It's been one that's unpredictable. It's been really had some great highs and then had some lows. But, I'm a very faith-forward person, like I told you before. So I know that those valleys, those low times are just times of reflection, preparation, time to work out, to stay sharp, to get better, so that when we swing back up, we're in the middle of a strike right now. I don't know if your listeners and people know that, but the actors and the writers are all on strike because we're not getting paid our proper wages. I fully support the strike as a SAG eligible member and a member of the Actors Equity Union for Theater. And so this is what some people consider to be kind of a low. And keep in mind, we just came out of a pandemic too.
Yeah.
So I was in the middle of shooting a TV show and then the pandemic happened. But beautiful things happen in stillness. In stillness, that's when you discover new things. You pick up a new accent. You pick up a new tool to put in your toolbox. I taught you about those different tools. So it's been up and down, but I know that the downtime is just an opportunity to get better so I can come back swinging when things open back up again.
Okay. So with the strike, what made you want to kind of be a part of it instead of just watching from the sidelines, I guess?
Because I'm like you started to show off kind of that multi-hyphenate. So I understand, and you're talking about the strike, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think if you remember like in the pandemic when like all the Black Lives Matter stuff was going on, there were some people who felt more comfortable watching, and then there were some people who said, you know what, I'm going to get on the streets and I'm going to protest. I was one of the people who got on the streets and protested because of my nephew Lennox, who just chimed in, my son Micah, young men like yourselves. You know, my mother was someone who marched in the 60s and the 70s and all of that. So I am not really the type of person that sits on the sidelines. And as an artist, I think it's important that we utilize our voices in times of uncertainty to represent those that aren't comfortable speaking up. So I haven't picketed or anything like that, but any opportunity I get to raise awareness that actors need to be paid properly, we need to get our residuals. Don't duplicate us with AI. You know, you need real people to tell those stories. I think that's important. And aren't you an actor as well? Aren't you in
Yeah.
that creative space? So how is it? I'm going to flip it. I know it's your show, but I'm going to flip it on you. How do you feel about the strike? Have you noticed a difference with auditions and opportunities since we've been striking?
Yeah. Auditions just come in like relatively often, I guess. Now it's kind of like once every month or so. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, it's really important.
Yeah, and what are you doing in this time? What's your focus? You know, I think you can give a youth perspective. What's your focus since we're not, you know, auditioning 5 times a week or shooting a couple times a month? Like, how are you using this time to stay sharp as an actor?
Well, monologues, I guess. I just made one about a month ago,
Yeah.
and just monologues. I guess also be out in the industry, because if the viewers saw my last interview, I did put up a thing talking about an event I was not hosting, but I was in red carpet in, so I got to see a lot of people who are part of the industry, not just actors, but like singers and vocalists as yourself. And yeah, it's always like staying active.
That's
But
right. Stay active, continue to network, keep your face out there. But I'm glad you shared that because I wanted to hear your insight to see if it's affecting you. All right, turn it back over to you. What's the next question?
Well, speaking of raising your voices, singing, you're a singer. What kind of made you go into that industry? Because most people, when they sing good, they just keep it as a hobby. They surprise their friends every once in a while. But made you want to branch out?
Yeah, so I'm a singer first. My dad was a wonderful singer. We come from a musical family, like professional recording artists. My sister and I were in the studio as little kids. So it's been cool to be a singer, actor, dancer, is how I kind of started. Now I'm more of an actor, singer, dancer. It kind of, you know, flip flops depending on the spaces that I'm in. But singing has always been the number one. That's the thing that comes most naturally. That's the thing that I don't have to work as hard to do. Whereas the acting, it took me a minute to get used to the difference between theater and television. You notice when I'm speaking to you now, I'm talking with my hands a lot. That's the theatrical side of me. We know in TV and film, we don't use our hands because the frame is right here. But singing was definitely number one. And it's been a really good tool to have in my toolbox because a lot of people can only do one thing, you know, and so I've been really blessed to be able to pull out those different singer dancer cards as the role asked for them.
So singer first, actor, and is dancer second, or word?
Yeah, dance will be my second. Dance will be on down the line, especially since I'm a little more of a seasoned lady now. I danced a lot, you know, 5 years ago. I would dance captain a lot and have always been blessed to be able to move well and stuff. But I'm putting the dancing on the back. And now I just consider myself to be a move weller. You know how they give you the box? Are you a dancer? Do you move well or not at all? I check the move well box.
Okay. So dancing. I guess back in your heyday when you're dancing a lot. What?
Yes, heyday, Jalen. Okay, yes, in my heyday. All right.
How did you figure out you were able to, I guess, bust the move?
I think it all goes back to that little kid. You know, I was rhythmically challenged. You know, I'm from California, so when I got to Atlanta, it was like, oh, the people move a little different down here. There's an extra little bop. You know, we grew up in an area where we weren't the majority. You know, we had a lot of Hispanic and Caucasian and Filipino, like very diverse, but we were a lot of times the only Black kids in our class. And so I got down here and was like, oh, I need to get it together. I could always move. I was always naturally athletic, but the dancer thing kind of blossomed a little bit later, more middle school, high school, and growing up in, Lithonia, GA, Lithonia, you learn, you pick up a little bit. So I could always move. I mean, I took ballet and tap and jazz when I was a little kid, but I didn't really realize I had that bop until I got into about middle school.
Okay. So with all the things that you do,
Mm-hmm.
how do you find a way to manage, before I talk about your LLCs and the companies and that, but how do you manage your career right now? How do you keep that all, I guess, packed down?
Jalen, if I flip the camera this way, you'll see two really big computers. You'll see there's one right here and there's one laptop that I closed down. So I spend a lot of time in this office space, and we're talking on my phone, managing it all. Never without my phone, but trying to find balance and calendars and reminders and all of that. But really just being centered, understanding what season I'm in. Sometimes it's really crazy, and I have a great family that supports me and helps me navigate things and make sure Micah's straight. But I'm still figuring it out, to be honest with you. There's a dry erase board behind me that has stuff on it. So try to be organized.
Yeah.
Still figuring it out, though.
Okay. So with all the things you manage, you also have a bunch of LLCs. And what made you want to branch out past Stage Ready?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Fearless movement is really a service extension of who I am. It's in the process of becoming a nonprofit, but I run it as if it's a nonprofit. It's the service entity to all the things that Tina Fierce does. And the blessing is that I just try to be to young people the person that I needed when I was coming up. So we support a lot of like toy drives for the holidays, which I think would be great for you to be a part of. In some way, we could talk about that. My sister and I collaborate a lot on some of the efforts we do, where we do like a beauty in the bag drive for young women who are homeless and allow them to have access to beauty products and things like that. So I didn't want to wait until I got an Oscar and said, now I'm going to go back and serve the people. Like, I really believe we can serve and be a blessing to people right where we are with what we have. I might not have $1 million, but I might have $1,000 that I can bless somebody with, or $500 or $20. So that was really the heartbeat behind the Fearless movement. And it's really just my testimony to be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. So remember, we first started talking, I was like, I was scared to go out there, and I was scared. And I've seen the most abundance of blessings when I walk fearlessly towards the things I know God has called me to do and be. Once I stop being scared and at least realize what it is I'm afraid of. Once I realized what I was afraid of, I could go towards it wholeheartedly. And that's really what the Fearless movement is about.
So with Fearless Movement Digital LLC, you're also the co-founder of Blacked ATL. Mm-hmm. And can you tell us also?
You got the name right. You got the name right. Come on, Jalen.
Well, I mean, hey, I have a really complicated last name. Whenever someone gets that name right, I'm like,
yeah. Because people always BLAC. That's right. It's Blacked. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So what made you want to co-found that and be a part of this?
Yeah, so Blacked is an organization that I co-founded with two other actors in Atlanta. Remember, we talked about protesting and marching in the streets and all of that? That was the organization that was formed right before we went into the pandemic, right before all the George Floyd and Breonna Taylor stuff, to really be a voice for actors in Atlanta. So we live in a right-to-work state. So a lot of people opt not to join the unions. But theater is something that is very popular. There are a lot of major theatrical houses here. But if you're not a member of one of those unions, there's really nobody fighting for you when things are crazy. And so Blacked was really formed as an advocacy organization that allowed actors to have someone go and speak for them if things weren't right, if they felt like they weren't being treated properly. But it's really turned into a community of about 400 Black actors in our city that really have formed a sense of community. And again, being fearless, not being afraid to say, hey, y'all, we need to come together. We're better together, was something that I'm blessed to have two really wonderful collaborators. And Blacked has been around for about 4 years, 5 years, really. because we're going into our 4th toy drive. So yeah, just serving the people.
Serving the people. Wow.
Yep.
So serving the people, helping out everyone, and managing all of this. When do you have a time to break?
When do I have time to break? I've gotten better with breaks, Jalen. Like we're going into Labor Day weekend, so I'll try to shut work down and spend time with my family. I used to be a workaholic. I felt like I just always had to have something constantly to do. And I think that's something for yourself and like any other young people who may watch this later. Like we always feel like we have to be engaged. And sometimes when we disconnect, that's when we get our brightest ideas. That's when we get our biggest inspiration, when we just disconnect. Because we want to be original, right? We want to be able to bring something fresh to the table. Everybody can't do and move the same way. We all sound the same. It's like they clone Tyrone, everybody's doing the same stuff. So I'm doing better. And breaks are beautiful. So the weekends, Sundays are my break day when I spend time with my family. Anytime school is not going on or like in between shows or projects. But I'm working on it.
Okay. So with the things that you do, what trials have you come across and the things you do and in your life in general?
Mm-hmm. I think rejection. And that's a trial, and that's something that if you're going to be one in the entrepreneurship space or two in the entertainment industry, like you got to have alligator skin. You just have to. And understand that rejection doesn't mean you're not good. Rejection doesn't mean that you don't, not only are you not good, that you may not be what they're looking for. There's so many things that go into that. Yes. These are people that I'm pitching to. The purple Post-its, they all have about 3 or 4 names on them. You have to just keep shooting your shot, So the biggest consistent trial has been just learning how to manage rejection. And when you're walking a life where you're leading with your faith, then you understand if something doesn't happen for me, that's not God's will. I'd rather wait on what he wants for me than to kind of try to push a situation that I might end up regretting because it's what I want,
Okay. So what is your next step in where you're going right now?
Yeah, next step, I got some big things cooking. I took some really big faith leaps in the month of August. It's great that we're doing this interview at the end of August because there have been some things that I can't really discuss, but I took some big fearless leaps, Jalen, this month that I'm very proud of. And so it's in the Lord's hand. Those things are going to be cultivating. Got some auditions coming up for some theater stuff that might be coming up, and working on some new partnerships and hoping that I can be able to create opportunities for other entrepreneurs and actors and creatives in the near future. So those purple Post-its, that means that we're betting on some things to happen. So can't tell it all, but we cooking over. Okay. We cooking with what they say. We cooking with grease. You cooking with fish grease. We cooking with fish grease over here.
All right. So with your journey through the industry, and what have you learned most about it that helps you teach other people, especially with Stage Ready?
Yeah, man, this industry is the same. To an extent, it's the same industry that I saw my dad and my mom navigate way, 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 way back in the 80s, right? In the 90s. The cutthroat, constantly changing. You got to be hot right now. And then when you're not hot, what are you going to do to survive when what you bring to the table is not what people want? I think that's a constant. We're just seeing it change. The faces are changing, but the overall structure of it all is the same. But I also learned that you can't put all your stock in the industry. You can't put all your stock in, I got to get a series regular role. I got to get a hit record. I got to get signed. You have to have other things that fulfill you so that if that doesn't happen, when you want it to happen, you're not broken and distraught. You're still cultivating. Like if I don't get a TV show, I'm still building my business. If I'm not building my business, I'm serving people. If I'm not doing that, I'm always a mom. I'm always, auntie. I'm always those things. So industry is the same. The only thing that's changed is the players. We just got to be smarter in it,
Yes. Wow. So with your parents being in the industry, when you jumped into it, were the information that I guess you gathered passively from them, did that help you get like a kickstart?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was the good and the bad, right? Like I just had a situation with the show that I was in. with the Wiz, and I had some physical challenges, and I could hear my dad, like literally the things that he taught us about how we sing, how we breathe. The singing piece, of course, was the natural thing, but the thing I kind of picked up later was the importance of the acting. Like if your voice is not 100%, you got to be committed to your character. You've got to be locked in on stage. Your energy level can't drop. So those were things that I gathered from my upbringing as a budding artist that I was able to apply professionally. And then the flip side, having survived a pandemic and now a strike, was that I never wanted to be a starving artist, right? So in not being a starving artist, it's like you need to work these Post-it notes. This business got to work because they're not shooting TV, right? The pandemic happened and everything shut down. We're in a strike, everything shuts down. So that was something that I gleaned from my parents, was just the importance of it not solely being about the gig and not solely being about the artistry. You got to be smart too. What's your money looking like? What other things do you have? Multi-hyphenate, actor, singer, dancer, producer, writer, teacher, speaker. You got to have those other things beside your name so that you can survive when the world shifts.
So did you feel like your parents were just focused on one form of the industry?
Mm-hmm. Well, see, my dad was the creative, and then my mom was the business person. So together, ta-da, you have the show and the business, Tina, right? But I think that's a great question because the industry was a little different then, right? There weren't like people, and you're a young man, and so you're very mature. But there was a time when Black people specifically, like if they wanted to be famous, they were going to one or two cities. Can you guess which two those were?
Hollywood
one, or Broadway is in New York. So if they wanted to be famous, they were either going to LA or they were going to New York. There weren't really a lot of options. Even the people, if you think about the Jacksons and their story, they were in Motown, right? Gary, Indiana. They went to Motown and they got ready to hit it big and they went straight to the West Coast. So in those 60s, 70s, late 80s, there weren't really a lot of opportunities. So to answer your question, yes, I feel like there was a time when my parents just had tunnel vision. Get signed, make the dream happen, and so the blessing about, even for you, right? You learn from your parents, but then you want to be better than the generation before you. They did the best that they could, but I was able to learn from that. And I want my son and my nephew and young men like yourself to take what Miss Tina is saying and be better. So yeah, they have tunnel vision. Mm-hmm.
So were you born when they're on like the grind of getting on television?
Yes, getting on. So I was around my dad had got a placement with the Jacksons, Michael Jackson and the Jacksons, his Jackson brothers. So we saw a huge success with all of that. And I was very, very little. I don't remember it, but I always used to see the check stubs in a photo album. So yeah, they were, my time as a little person was as they were kind of peaking. And then I definitely saw the grind. Like we definitely visited Capitol Records, and when you see those movies of LA, you see the big tall building that looks like a bunch of records stacked. Like we've been there. My sister and I were in those studios when they were grinding and doing all that stuff. So yeah, we saw it. We definitely saw that.
Okay. So with you seeing it from a young age, how does your son feel about the industry?
My son is a musician. He plays his instruments. That's a good question. I mean, he auditioned a little bit. He had opportunities to act, but he was really into books and geography and all that stuff. So he might come around to it a little bit later. I think my nephew Lennox probably has a little more interest in the arts in that capacity. Lennox, he's a musician as well. He plays the piano. I don't really know what Micah's thoughts of the industry are, but he knows what mommy does. He's very proud. He's been on the carpets and stuff before. But I don't think he has an interest, at least right now, in like, oh, I want to be in the business. I don't think so.
So with the business, what do you want your career to be at? Like, what do you want your career to be at, like at its peak?
Yeah, at its peak, it would definitely be with a couple of shows that I've written and created on network television, to create opportunities for for people like yourself, and for us to have more representation, a broader range of representation. I would love to have a couple action movies under my belt where I'm drop kicking people and joining the Marvel universe for sure.
Yeah.
Not giving up on my Marvel dreams. And really just being able to take that success and bless other people, to do dance camps where like hundreds of girls can come and take dance class for free, or scholarships at my high school where kids who are interested in careers in the arts or what have you, we're paying people's college tuition. Like that's thriving for me, because that's creating legacy. I don't want fame. I want to be able to establish something where legacy, it's a story to tell about who Tina Fears was and who she blessed along her journey.
Well, we got this far and we haven't talked about your writing and producing yet. So from acting, what made you want to also add writing and producing to it?
Yeah, that's a good question, Jalen. I think it was just like the representation thing, right? Like getting auditions and yeah, this is all right. Is it a show I want to watch? Like feeling like I'm watching TV and not seeing stuff that I want to be a part of. And just trying to be my most creative self. The more life that you live, the more you tap into your deeper creative. And I know that when you control the pen, then you really have power, right? It's one thing to be the actor, but it's another thing to be the Shonda Rhimes or the Issa Rae or the Tyler Perry. There's something to be said about the people who are creating these worlds, and they're now creating opportunities, and so I just felt like if I'm gonna go for it, you got to go all in, shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot. Okay. So with shooting your shot, who is your inspiration behind everything you do?
I guess it's kind of two or threefold. One I'll say is, do you know who Debbie Allen is?
Debbie Allen. Yes.
Okay. So for the people who don't know, Debbie Allen is the world-renowned choreographer, director, producer, writer. She was most known as a dancer first, and there was a show in the 80s, before my time, late 70s, early 80s, called Fame, where she was the choreographer on that show. And because the directors didn't know how to capture dance, she ended up directing those scenes to capture the dance the proper way, ultimately becoming a director. And we know her from A Different World and so on and so forth. So Miss Allen is definitely someone I consider an inspiration, multi-hyphenate. Debbie Allen, director, producer, dancer, so on and so forth. So I consider her legacy to be one that is just phenomenal. It encompasses everything I'm interested in. Inspiration will always be my parents, ups and downs, good and bad. I am a combination of both of them. And I'm thankful for the business savvy that I have from my mother, the creativity and the artistic piece from my dad. And I think I'm most inspired by young people too, wanting to serve young people in the way that I wanted to be served. So I'm a God lady, to say God is my inspiration, God is my source for sure. And inspires and cultivates and keeps me in everything that I do. But I want to be like Miss Debbie Allen.
Yeah. Okay. So before the strike, you were in the show, The Genius, the Aretha Franklin show. So how was your experience being on a show like that?
Jalen, it was life-changing, honey. It really was. I mean, to be, first of all, recurring, you know what that is, right? That means you come back multiple times throughout the series. And to be on set with people that I admired, like Courtney B. Vance, Mr. Courtney, Angela Bassett's husband, like, it was amazing because it was like a masterclass, right? Remember, I'm the singer first and have done acting, but that was like I had booked some other stuff, but that was my first major, like, high profile job to book. And it was just life-changing, man. I learned so much. I wish I could go back and like do it again, but I'm more prepared because of it, because I learned so much in the process. It's like you work hard to get the audition, then you book the job, then you're in your trailer and you're like going over your stuff. And the cool thing was I got to sing on that show. So if you ever see it, that's my voice, which was really cool.
Wow.
But to be complimented by people I respect, right? People I grew up watching, and they're saying like, "Yeah, you're dope, man. You did an amazing job." That's,
Wow.
you know, you can't pay for that kind of compliment.
That's incredible. Wow. So, with being in all this, I have to ask one question.
Mm-hmm.
How was your first taste of set food?
It was good. I'm a foodie, so
Yeah.
the PA that was assigned to me, I was like in full costume. It was like the white hat, black dress stuff. And when you're first team, right, that means that you're the leads. I had a day where I was like 2 on the call sheet. It was like Mr. Courtney and me.
Wow.
And I think I was 2 or 3, but I was in the top. And so you get preferential treatment. And they had, and I know this is going to sound crazy because spaghetti is so basic, but it was some of the best spaghetti. I don't know if it was just because I got to like cut the line and Tina, do you need anything? But it was so good with some garlic toast,
Wow.
honey. It was like the big Texas toast with the spaghetti. And I was just, some people say they don't eat on set. I eat. They had smoothies, all the things. So set food, my set food was good.
Yeah.
My
Like
set food was good.
when I when I was doing a lot of background work and stuff like that, you could see me going back to the set food stand like 3-4 times before I was done.
Yeah, because it's unlimited. And then we have like crafty. So like I know they have like the one at Extras Holding, but then when you're on the principal level, like crafty is like a full buffet. It's smoothies, it's tacos, it's whatever you want. If you just decide you want an omelet, I just want a veggie omelet. Like they're throwing down. So that's one of my favorite parts of working is seeing what the food is gonna be.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. I mean, I
Yeah.
love food. I
Okay.
do cook actually. I was invited to MasterChef Junior twice. Second time, something happened. I had to turn it down. Family thing. But
Pause.
yeah.
Now you cook. Tell me about some of the food that you cook, Jalen.
I cook a good steak.
Okay.
I guess I experiment in the kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah, I was making some pancakes today. I made crepes accidentally, but they were so
All
good.
right.
So
So wait, it was super thin, and like, did you roll it up? Did you say accidentally? So did you not put enough batter in there, or what was
no,
that?
it was like I think I had it like a little too thin when I poured it, but
Okay.
it was good. It was good. It was good.
Ooh, you know, if you put, have you heard of like the crepes with Nutella? Do you eat Nutella?
Oh yeah, I saw those. I kept wanting to get them, but I'm like, the next day.
Okay, so next time you go to the store, just get a
Yeah.
little Nutella and do your thin little crepe. And when you roll it up, just smear a little Nutella on it and it's gonna melt because the crepe is warm. Take a little whipped cream, sprinkles.
Okay.
It's good. When we were in Aruba, that's how they were making them there. And they were making them like this big and then they folded them into 4s and then you cut into it and it all melts down. It's
Wow.
really good. So don't say I didn't ever give you anything. I gave you a crepe hustle, crepe and Nutella hustle.
Yeah. All right.
So Master Chef Junior, like, are you gonna have an opportunity to go back on the show, or what do you think?
I'm not sure because when it happened, I was like really younger, and that was
Okay.
the second time was when it was going into COVID. So
Okay.
been a couple years, but
Think you
I
can
don't
hang
know.
with
My
Chef?
mom really wants me to talk about how I was accepted through like a salad instead of like an actual meal. I was accepted through a salad that I made, which was pretty cool.
What was the salad?
It was
Okay.
a smoked salmon salad. My mom first made the idea. Then I was
Okay.
like, you know what? This tastes good. So
Okay,
I
come on,
decided,
break it down. People don't
yeah.
want to hear about me. We want to hear about this smoked salmon salad. It's 8:30. They hungry. Tell us about the smoked salmon salad.
I mean, it's pretty good. It's smoked salmon. You got your mixed greens. You got your fruits. You got your vegetables. You got your vinaigrette. You just drill around like.
Ooh. Is it
I
a
don't.
homemade vinaigrette?
I don't actually remember what I did last time.
Okay.
But yeah, and the worst part about it is I didn't know you had to bring a plate yourself. So I just saw all these people putting out their plates, and I was like,
Oh,
no.
you just
But
had
someone out of the kindness of their heart just gave me a plate that they had, and
Oh, you'll be ready next time, though, right?
yeah, I'll be ready. I'll get the china next time.
I know that's right. China, a linen napkin, a fork, a knife.
Yeah.
A little goblet for the dressing. Oh,
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I'll be wishing you well. Keep me posted. If I see the next time they have auditions, I'll make sure I share it with you guys.
All right. All right. Well, thank you. One of our audience asked, "Are you a chef?"
Me? No, I'm not a chef, but I love to cook. I'm gonna do a cookbook one day once I get my next TV job. Thank you for the person who asked that question.
You have the mom cooking skills.
There you go. It's a little better than mommy, but yeah, mom skills. I love food though, so when in doubt, go to my Instagram. I have some food on there.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll see. I'll see. But getting back to you and all the accomplishments you made. When I looked you up, I saw two of your awards: the HEPA Breakthrough Performance Award for 2021, and also the National Black Woman in Cinema Trailblazer Award. So, how did it feel getting those recognitions for what you do?
Oh, it was amazing, Jalen. I mean, anytime people say well done, especially for something that you get so much rejection, you constantly get rejected. For people to say, like, we see you, your work was beautiful. It was great. It was really fulfilling. Both of the awards are like on display in my little trophy case downstairs. And I plan to add some NAACP Image Awards and some other things to that. But what a wonderful way to make my intro into the entertainment industry by being recognized by people who I respect and who have, other people that I respect have won those awards as well. So it was a great feeling.
That's incredible. But moving on towards your normal life, your day to day, what do you do when you have the time to just hang out with your family?
Mm-hmm. Like I said, we're a foodie, we're a food family, so
Yeah.
food is always at the center of things. I think we got a text message today from my mom, like, all right, it's Labor Day, we grilling, it's gonna always be about food. I love to shop and cook, and I'm finding myself really into gardening, Jalen. Like, I did a lot of gardening this summer. I started gardening during the pandemic, so it's a way for me to like get outside and get some vitamin D and all of that. So that's what I'm doing when I'm not trying to do the things, just a homebody, very domestic, I guess.
You know, since you're talking about food and that, when I looked up, I can't find the website for some reason, but there's like a million different flavors of Lay's that are in the US. Like there's crawfish, there's lobster, there's steak, there's taco for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you tried one of them?
You know what? When we went to Aruba this summer, I put it on my TikTok. They were obsessed with paprika. Every chip brand was paprika flavored. So I haven't tried any of like the luxury funky, whatever stuff. I haven't tried any of those, but I did see that paprika is trending in Aruba. So maybe I should have tried. Have you tried any of those? Which ones do you like?
No, I actually guess I told him how I love crawfish so much. He was like, you know what? Lay's makes these crawfish chips. I think you should have a bag of them. I tried them and they were pretty good. They were pretty good. They tasted
Okay,
like
so
crawfish.
unpack that. Was it like fishy? Did it taste like Old Bay? Was it like a Louisiana seafood seasoning?
It
Like what
didn't
was
taste
the
like Old Bay. It tasted like if they had like salt age and like some crawfish mixture or something like that, and then they put
or
it on
something
it.
kind of fishy?
Yeah, it was kind of like it had like a fishy crawfish taste to it.
Okay. Do you like crawfish like just a regular old crawfish boil a corn and potato? You like a crawfish?
I mean, I guess me and my mom used to have these crawfish eating competitions. We both got like a big bowl of crawfish, and
Okay.
like whoever finished the most or finished it first won.
Okay, so how do y'all eat it? Do y'all dip it in cocktail sauce, butter? Like how y'all like what's your thing? Lemon?
Ooh, when we used to have it, I think it had a thing of lemon, but it was already kind of like seasoned up and had like butter all over it. It was
Okay.
spicy to it, so
Okay.
yeah,
So crawfish flavored Lays. Okay, I'm gonna have to try that.
it's different. There's a wagyu flavored Lay's, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, and then you said you cook steak. So how do you prepare your steak, or how do you like your steak? Medium well, medium?
I don't know. I usually normally like to like medium well, but now I'm trying to kind of like see how I like it medium rare.
Yeah. So the better cut of the steak you have, you know, you don't want to cook it through as much. If it has nice marbling and all that good stuff. We had this really good tomahawk steak. You know, that's the one on the big bone.
Yeah.
Ooh, Jalen, it's something serious. I'm a sauce girl, so I
Yeah.
like to dip in sauce. But this steak was so good, honey. I didn't even need any steak sauce. It was that. It
Wow.
just melted in my mouth. It was really good. Yeah, try it. Try it more. A little more on the rare side, and see what you think.
Okay. Okay. How heavy was it? I
Um,
heard those things get like to 15 something.
it was. I don't. They didn't say what the weight was, but it was enough to share amongst 3 people. And then when they sliced it, we still had enough to like take home.
Wow.
I don't eat beef that much, but we were on vacation. I was like, I'm gonna eat this steak, baby. This it was really good though. It was really good. Seasoned well.
Yeah, but my mom just told me how she just noticed a lot of our guests are just talking about gardening and just planting. What brought you into the love of that?
Being a foodie and being in the house during the pandemic and um wanting to have like access to fresh things. You know, I remember when we were trying to go to the grocery store and it was the weirdest thing. It was like, this is out of a movie. We had on masks, we had on gloves, there wasn't any food, you know,
Mm,
certain things they were putting limitations on. And that was kind of scary to me. And I was like, wait a minute, let me figure out how to grow some food just in case this happens again. Like I need to make sure I have some kind of way to have some cucumbers, some lettuce, tomatoes. So gardening was like a cool hobby. I mean, some people say it's kind of an old lady thing, but I think it's like plants too. People got into like plants and stuff
yeah.
during the pandemic as well. So I had some wonderful tomatoes and some cucumbers. I always do herbs because those last pretty well. My carrots, they're always small, but I grew something called perilla. Do you know what perilla leaves are?
No.
Okay, so when you have like Korean barbecue, if you go to like the Korean steakhouses,
Yeah.
they usually have a stack of like these green leaves. They're about the size of my hand.
Wow.
And it's kind of like a Chinese basil, but it's huge. And they use them as a vessel to put the panchan, like the little sides, the kimchi, and the meat in.
Oh.
And it's the vessel. So I grew those last year, pulled them up, put them in my compost mound. And Jalen, this year they're so tall, they're like up to my waist. So it's
Wow.
kind of like a volunteer crop. Like I thought it was done and it grew back on its own in abundance. So I have more of that than anything. I'm like trying to give it away. But yeah,
Yeah.
I enjoy gardening. You should try it. Try with like something small
Yeah.
and see, especially since you cook like herbs or something like that.
Yeah. I need to try. Well, we should probably like try to get together and cook something sometime too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Now if you do the live, cooking live, you know, we can do that.
All right. All
That'll be
right.
cool.
All right. But you said on vacation you had a tomahawk steak. Do you like to travel a lot?
I do like to travel. That was my first international trip with my family, which was cool. I travel a lot for work, so the airport can kind of be like, I got stranded in Memphis last year or this year, so that sucked. But I do like to travel, and I want to travel more. I want to go to Arizona. Have you ever been there?
No.
I want to go to Arizona, and I tell my family like, I want to go to Arizona. Why do you want to go to Arizona?
It's so hot there.
Yeah, but the aesthetics of like the mountains and all of
Yeah.
that is just a nice, I think it would be a great change up from what we see here in Atlanta. So that's somewhere I want to go. But do you travel?
No, I want to get into traveling. I not right by me, but I have like a Japanese book I'm trying to learn from because I see all these TikToks. I guess TikToks, YouTube Shorts popping up and about Japanese food. I
Mm-hmm.
love food, and there's just so much food.
Yeah. So do you
I
eat
need,
sushi and stuff?
huh?
Have you ever had, do you eat sushi?
Yeah, I eat sushi, lots of ramen, stuff like that.
Okay.
Uh,
Have you been to the
ba-
H market?
yes,
Don't
yeah.
you love it?
Yeah, like there's so much stuff. That's
Yeah.
before I even wanted to go there. There's just so much stuff.
Yeah. TikTok will keep you up on what's new right now. The dumplings that come in the little tray, that's what's trending. Everybody's eating. I'm like, that's been around, but
Have
people
you
are
heard
eating
of the stir fried rocks?
stir fried rocks.
Yeah.
No.
No. Oh, huh.
What's the thing on the stir fried rocks?
So basically, I'm pretty sure it's the like origins of it was back fishermen didn't have much food, so they sucked on rocks that had the taste of the sea because they were under the water. Now, basically, there's a dish going around like with street vendors where they just stir fry rocks, add like the fish taste, seasoning, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're supposed to suck on it, then throw it away. That's the whole thing about it. Yeah.
I get it. I mean, if you're hungry and you can't catch a fish, it's like make do with what you have. I think it's so funny how random things just trend, and then
Yeah.
everybody is like, "Okay, I need to now. We got to stir fry rocks." I'm scared it would burn my mouth though.
I mean, you probably have to wait like a hot minute before you can have one.
Yeah, not hot piping, steaming rocks.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting me on it. I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm gonna have to search it on TikTok.
Yeah, it seems to be not that expensive too, only like $2, but
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. So wait, so street vendors are preparing that, or people are doing it at home? Like they're
Street vendors. I mean, technically you could.
Okay.
But I
Man, I don't want no Atlanta rocks, man. I'm good.
You probably get some weird looks from neighbors, like, "What is she doing? Putting
Yeah, why is she in
rocks
my
in her
yard digging up
pants?"
rocks? Yeah.
What?
Tasting some Georgia clay. Yep.
So, what is on your list of things that you want to do?
Well, we talked about, the Marvel stuff and the TV
Yes.
shows and all of that. That's kind of what's on my radar. Jalen, it's just to make an impact, like use all the multi-hyphenate things and just be impactful, so that I create a legacy. And that's why you have to be thoughtful with everything that you do. You don't want to just be out here existing. You want to make sure that you leave a lasting impression on people. I hope that when we conclude this interview, you'll say, "Oh, she was cool. Like she was talking to me. I wasn't just interviewing her. She was asking me." You want to make sure that you leave a lasting impact on people. So that's just, it's at the top of the list for me and everything. To be kind to people, to be considerate, be authentically myself. Encourage people. That's it.
So, if you had one word of advice you could say to the younger you, what would it be?
People overuse the keep pushing thing, but it would definitely be like, disregard your current circumstances. I know this might look crazy. You might want to give up. You're frustrated, but if you continue to move forward, just keep moving forward. Each day that you wake up is a blessing. It's an opportunity to do better, to be better, that it will get better. It doesn't mean it's going to always be perfect, but if you continue to move forward, you're going to be making progress towards those things you desire. Keep going. Keep pushing. There it is. Keep pushing.
Keep pushing. So with keep pushing, what I guess is one of the harder challenges you faced, and how did you keep pushing and keep working and keep striving?
Have you ever heard the term breakthrough? Like that's something that we hear in church
Yes.
a lot. Like, God, I need a breakthrough. Lord, I need a breakthrough in my life. It was being close to those breakthrough moments. Because a lot of times right before you have a breakthrough, that's when like everything goes crazy. That's right, Lennox, keep pushing. So like I remember, you're building the business, you're getting these opportunities, and then the hot water, the hose blows out on your car. It's like, I got the job, I worked so hard to get the job, but now my car is falling apart. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things that can kind of be roadblocks. But if you can just get on the other side of them, I really believe like as long as you are trying your best and putting the effort forward, I believe the Lord sees you, He hears you, He knows our prayers. And those doors will open. He hears and knows His children. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. Like right before you get to the breakthrough, the water heater breaks, or right before you get to the breakthrough, you're $25 short on your phone bill. So I got applications out, but they got to be able to call me, but I don't have enough to pay my. So those are the things. But at least when stuff starts falling apart, you're getting closer. You're closer to your breakthrough moment. So that's been some of the hard stuff, but. Again, looking back at it, as long as I kept moving forward, even now, as long as I continue to move forward, you're getting closer to where you want to be.
All right. So with all the things that you do you think there's any other career path or hobby that you might have an interest in? Or like maybe not hobby, but like something cool and exciting you might want to try?
Yeah, I think we've talked about food so much, Jalen. I would be crazy if I didn't do a cookbook, right?
Yeah. I mean,
we got to do the cookbook. So I think I got to add that to, I think that's author is the only thing that's really missing. That's like deep down as something I'm passionate about. I think that's missing from the list of multi-hyphenate things.
So besides a cookbook, what do you think your other book would be about?
Other than a cookbook, you're saying if I didn't do a cookbook?
Yes, if you didn't do a cookbook, what do you think it would be about?
Oh yeah, it would definitely be like a motivational, like how to pivot,
Yes.
bringing your dreams, making your dreams your reality, kind of helping people with that. There's no true step by step. Anybody that says like, here's the book on how to become a successful actor is crazy, because that's not true. And my journey is not your journey and vice versa. But to have a book of inspiration that shares true stories and experiences, where you talk about how you overcame them, I think that could be helpful to people,
Yeah, one thing I thought of, like, I guess it's my own quote now, but quote I thought of is trying to follow someone's exact steps in life is trying to grow an orange from an apple tree.
Talk about it, Jalen. That's good. Say it again. Trying to follow someone else's footsteps in life is like trying to grow an orange from an apple tree.
Yes.
Did I nail it?
Yeah.
That's good though.
Yeah.
That's where like you can't follow, and that's why we can't be so consumed by social media, because people are like putting on.
Yeah.
They want you to follow footsteps, but that's not true. Like you shot that video 10 times and edited it before you put it on your page,
And even with like some lifestyle books, you're leaving a lot of your lifestyle out of your lifestyle.
Listen at this young man. Tap, 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 tap. Do y'all hear that? Yeah, they're leaving the lifestyle out because people don't want to show you like the ugly stuff. Like, yeah, man, like I failed. I was horrible. They rejected me. If I told y'all how my director, my first day on set was like, not like that. That's not how you do it. No, that's not it. That's the ugly stuff, right?
Yeah.
If I just came on here and said, oh, it was just lovely and they loved me and they thought it was amazing.
They said, oh, why don't you just get up here and direct and act and do all the stuff? I mean, why am I even here?
She had to do her job. That's why the first thing I said, I learned so much. Because, baby, I thought I was doing it and they had to get me together. But we got there. It's not about, how you get there, as long as you get there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But that's a great quote, Jalen. I think that's awesome. Make sure you, like, put that on a T-shirt or something.
I will do. All right. Well, before we go, I just want to ask you, thank you again. Thank you, Mr. Linux, for introducing your great to me. Also, he says he likes his steaks well done.
We know, Linux. You want it well done, my guy?
I used to. Yeah, but I could tell he's a supporter. When you started talking about where you could find your cooking and stuff, he was like, TikTok. You can find it on TikTok as well. Yeah.
Love you, Lennox. Thanks for the hookup. Thanks for booking me, Lennox.
Yes. Well, where can people follow you, find you, and find more information about you, Fearless, Stage Ready?
Yeah, I'm at Tina Fears on all platforms. So there's some. If you drop Tina Fears in the Google, stuff should come up. It should come up. I don't know, Jalen. We got to check. No, I'm just saying. If you put Tina Fears into Google, it should come up. But Tina Fears on all platforms. I enjoy social media. Sometimes I'm quiet, but I'll normally, it's at my website, tinafears.com. And that tells you a little bit about the Fearless movement and Stage Ready and Tina, the show in the business, all that good stuff. But I like social. Sometimes you have to take breaks, but I enjoy it. Sometimes I get in a TikTok bubble. Got to get out of there sometimes.
I mean, thank you for coming on so much.
Yeah, Jalen, I'm so proud of you, man. This is awesome. If there's anything that I can do to support you, don't hesitate to reach out. I think you're a bright young man with a wonderful future ahead of you. And I'm excited to see what the next couple of years look like for you. And if this turns into a podcast or a cooking show or whatever, you can count on Miss Tina to pull up and definitely be a guest on your show.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to be watching you too.
Yeah, let's stay connected. Tell your mom thank you so much and have a wonderful evening. I appreciate you guys.
Yes, and I appreciate you too.
All right, honey.
Bye. And I appreciate you, to the wonderful audience out there. Thank you so much for all the support. I really appreciate it. It's been a long way from just starting off from just doing what I was doing with acting, then to here, and I now just looking back at it, I really appreciate it. And also, I have to bring him up. I have to bring him up. This guy, On Time Somewhere. I have to bring him up. He got me some really nice glasses. I mean, let me just pull them out. I had something to drink. It's behind there, but it looks so fantastic. Incredible. Beautiful. I know I should stop talking about the glasses, but they're really nice. They're incredible. I really enjoy them. I mean, I really appreciate this guy. It's a lot. On Time Somewhere. Look him up. Look up On Time Somewhere. You could also find more information on Jalen Says TV, Facebook about all my upcoming stuff, all my upcoming things, yada yada. If you guys do remember, Understand Extravaganza, it was 19th. I'm editing the stuff and I'm gonna have it up on the YouTube very shortly. So stay tuned for that. A lot of cool interviews. It's just I really appreciate you all. And I mean subscribe and share, like, thank you. And I mean, without further ado, stay tuned. Peace.